Yeah, please let me know if you are able to see my screen, the Windows slide.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Good evening, and welcome to MuleSoft Meetup for Surat Chapter 73. Today's topic is connecting data cloud with MuleSoft. So, before we proceed, safe harbor statement. So, both the speakers and hosts are organizing this meetup in individual capacity. We are not representing our companies here. So, and this presentation is strictly for learning purpose. We do not hold any responsibility that the same solution will work for you, and this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. So, forward looking statement, it's as same as safe harbor statement, just in more depth. Housekeeping. So, I'm recording this session, and I'll be sharing the recording by tomorrow on the same RSVP page. And do ask the questions in between in chat, or if you have any doubt, you can ask the speaker directly. Open your mic and ask the question, and at the end give us feedback. How was the session? If you are expecting some topic from us, let us know, or if you want to be a speaker, let us know. So organizers, Jiten Bafna, he's not available today, and myself, Nitish Jain, we both are organizers for Surat MuleSoft chapter. uh, Now we have the speaker, Mohsin, Mohammad Mohsin Kazi. Mohsin, I'll unshare my screen. So now
Yeah,
from here you can.
yeah, sure. Uh, Let me share my
Yeah.
screen. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, hi
please.
everyone. Good evening. I know we are connecting on a weekday. It is hard for me to get some time. So I wonder like how this number of people are turned out. So thanks everyone to joining in. So talking about what we are going to cover today. So the agenda would be connecting data cloud with MuleSoft. So as of now, we might know that most of us already know. I mean, we'll have a small idea of what data cloud is and what it is doing. But I will take a deep dive into what is data cloud and how MuleSoft is helping. MuleSoft is helping complementing data cloud, how it can take data cloud to us further steps. So that would be our agenda. Talking about what is data cloud. So as you can see, it's a unified data streaming data lake where you can unlock trap data to provide a 360-degree view of the customer. So when I say 360-degree view, so we already know that Salesforce is having this customer 360 where it is having access to each and every Salesforce related data. But what about the external data? Right? So the external data which you consider coming from the Amazon or Google Cloud, BigQuery, and all those things. So Salesforce Data Cloud will help in bringing those kind of data into a Salesforce org, and it will help to use that particular data for further business process, and it will make sure that it is working as a data lake where it is not having a zero copy of, it is not storing any zero copy sharing of the data. So we already know that data is dispersed. I mean, we are using data in a high level. So data is dispersed into multiple environment, right? And multiple org and multiple diverse what I can say, diverse systems. So getting all those data into one particular thing, one particular stream, so that you can perform any kind of an action or analytics or insights on that particular data. That in that particular scenario, data cloud will help in most of the scenarios. So let us understand like how data cloud works. So you can see from the screen, from the slide. that we are having data from multiple data sources, as I mentioned. So first of all, the customer 360, which is nothing but the Salesforce customer 360, where multiple Salesforce cloud. So obviously, data clouds is will come under the Salesforce org itself. So it will be having an access to all the different clouds within the Salesforce org, and even the multiple orgs as well, right? And how about the cloud storage, like Amazon S3, Google BigQuery, or Azure related cloud storage? So Data Cloud is having almost around 250 native connectors, where it can have a direct access to this particular external data cloud storage, and it can have a what do you say, easy access to those particular cloud storage. And talking about bring your own lake, so as data cloud itself is a kind of a data lake, so it will have an access to your particular data lake, for example Snowflake and all those things, and it will make sure that it is not having a zero copy of that particular data which is being read from the Snowflake data lake. And as we know, like a different mobile and web services and all those data. But there are certain places, like we know data cloud is having that much of capability that it can reach out to all these different streams, but MuleSoft will help data cloud to reach out to the those particular systems, or legacy systems, or even different data streams, or data cloud, different data cloud, where data cloud cannot reach. For example, like crossing over a particular firewall, crossing over a particular legacy system, where it has to adhere to their particular network architecture, right? Where data cloud will not be able to work with their network architecture. MuleSoft will help data cloud to bring that data from the external streams. So as I mentioned, data cloud is having their own out of box connectors. Along with that, MuleSoft helps data cloud to reach out to a particular to those particular places where data cloud is not able to reach, right? And so once the data, so that is the first part, like where we are connecting and getting the data. So what would be the next, like how we can after we get the data from different external streams, we will be like harmonizing the data, right? So once we are harmonizing data, we would be creating whatever the data that has come and sitting in our data lake. We would model we will create a model of the data, or we can create a data spaces, or even do transformation mappings and all those things. So once we harmonize the data, we can unify the data using the identity resolution and all those things. So where when we are unifying that data, so we are making sure whatever the data, we are making sure that whatever the data we are getting from multiple streams or external systems, we are able to create that, we are able to unify that data, that it could be used for customer 360, whatever the business process you are trying to implement. And with the help of identity resolution, you would be able to make sure that there is no duplicacy of the data. We already know, right? Like for example, consider uh, Amazon would be having, so consider like giving an example, consider Amazon is having a certain data, and even Flipkart is having a certain data. There is a possibility that both Amazon and Flipkart could be having the same product, right? So how we can make a data cloud understand that those two products are similar, and they have to be unified and validated accordingly. So identity resolution, we can provide a particular validation and so that we can make sure that there is no duplicacy of data, right? And then once we do this harmonizing, unifying, and once we create a particular model out of the data, you can make use of a Tableau or something which is already present in Salesforce to create a insight and analytics out of the data. That particular insights and analytics, you can sell that data. For example, you can provide that data to different ad partners like Facebook and all. So as we you might have seen a different ad getting popped up into your Facebook page, right? So once the data is unified and you are providing that data to different ad companies, you will get an insight. Whatever the data you are getting from the ad companies, you will get an insight, like how that particular product is performing, how that particular product is having a market revenue, or having a market value, right? So in that way, you can create an insight and analytics of data. So this is something which you are doing, like you are playing all around with the data. So once you have done your own setup of the data, then you can use Einstein. Maybe you can use Einstein. Even now you can use uh, MuleSoft as well to activate on, like to act upon that data. So whatever the insights or analytics or whatever the business related model you have created, you can send back that data to different streams or legacy system, back to the legacy system, or back to your Snowflake data lake or something, with the help of both Einstein and MuleSoft actions. So that is how like overall how data cloud works in a I would say in a small summary. So, talking about how MuleSoft complements Data Cloud. So, as I mentioned, Data Cloud already has its own capability where it can have access to customer 360, like multiple Salesforce orgs, and even having native connectors where you can reach out to different data cloud storage and all, right? MuleSoft will help in, as I mentioned, MuleSoft will help in crossing over those particular firewalls and understanding the external system network architecture and bringing back that data. And even MuleSoft can be able to do the ingestion with the transactional or ERP system related data. For example, like we know, right, like how it is hard to get data from the SAP ERP system. Like you can always make use of a particular architecture like queuing mechanism, error handling, delivery control mechanism, and all those things. And even now, something which you can work with is getting data from a what you say unstructured document, like for example getting unstructured data from a particular document or image or anything using OCR and ingesting that particular data into data cloud. Talking about action item, as we talked about how data is coming in, we have to talk about how data is going out. So as I mentioned, data cloud itself is having that access to those particular external native connectors, right? So it can act upon that particular data by sending back the what you say uh, whatever the performed data it is having, or whatever the structured data it has created. And even it can do reverse ETL. As I mentioned, you can have that particular data being sent to Snowflake back with a zero copy sharing, right? And as I mentioned, add activation, data visualization. This all we have talked about. Like how MuleSoft will help here. Like MuleSoft will be able to help you create what you say uh, action. I mean, there is a particular connector which is provided by Data Cloud, that is action webhook. So using that action webhook, you can send whatever the data is present, whatever the modularized data you have in the data log, you can send that particular data to any legacy system or any different sources or destinations where it wants the data to act upon. This is something which I have already covered now. So how MuleSoft is complementing Data Cloud, this is how you can see. Like MuleSoft unlocks and orchestrates the data from the Data Cloud. This is one of the key feature of MuleSoft, where it can as I mentioned, it can access through the on-premise systems, like it is crossing their firewall or network architecture. It is able to go pass through their firewall and network architecture and bring back that data, like even handling a transactional. So these are all the items which I have covered, like transactional, where it is able to reach out to ERP systems and make use of different features like error handling and all those things, getting unstructured data from different documents and all those things. And even activation, like where it can whatever the data has been acted upon, you can bring the get that data out of the data cloud and further provide it to any external systems. So there are, as I mentioned, like how data works. So there are like multiple things that data cloud inherits, like data ingestion, data model, and then unification, and then harmonization, all these things. But with respect to MuleSoft, the place where MuleSoft will play a major role, that is data ingestion, as I mentioned, right? So as we can see, data cloud can directly have access to these different whatever native connectors it has. But MuleSoft can reach out to those third-party data where data cloud, even data cloud cannot reach. We know how far MuleSoft can go, like how far MuleSoft can go and reach that particular data and bring that data for and modularize that data so that you can perform any business process. And once you do data ingestion, there are like multiple ways you can do data ingestion. Majorly two things, that is using a streaming API and using a bulk ingestion. So as part of streaming ingestion, you can there are some limitations, like you have a 250 TPS for that streaming ingestion, where you can have a near real time data coming flowing through data cloud, with the help of MuleSoft. And there is bulk ingestion, where as just like our Salesforce bulk API, here also we are having bulk ingestion API, where you can process a large amount of data, like large file. You can process those data into data cloud. So as we talked about different different things which are there in data cloud, talking about the connector which MuleSoft provides for Salesforce data cloud. Previously it was known as a CDP connector. Now we came up some now it has moved to Salesforce data cloud, right? So as I mentioned, there are like two different mode of ingestion which we can do, that is streaming ingestion, and another one is bulk API ingestion. As we can see, MuleSoft provides two different connectors with respect to streaming ingestion and bulk API ingestion. With respect to streaming ingestion, we have insert data, delete data, where you can make a moreover like a event related or real time data there. And with respect to bulk API ingestion, there we already know like how bulk API works. We have to follow a particular process where you are creating a job, and then you are upserting or uploading whatever the data is there from that job ID, and then you have to close that job if it is completed, or if it is not completed, you have to abort that job. And even there are like get job and delete job as well. And there is another thing which is query API, which we already know that we can query into the data lake and get the data out of it. So MuleSoft also provides some different APIs as well, like for example, calculated insight API and profile API, right? So calculated insight API and profile API, this helps you get the metadata of whatever the insight process is happening within data cloud. Though it is analytics or something like that, some insight with the help of these particular connectors. With respect to data action API, we know that data action API, as I mentioned, there is a webhook which has been provided by MuleSoft, where Salesforce can push whatever the data is there to that webhook, and MuleSoft can read that data, we can push from Salesforce data cloud and process for according to the business requirement. So that is more about how Salesforce data cloud works, and how MuleSoft complements that Salesforce data cloud. Any questions or anything you have with respect to Salesforce data cloud?
Anyone? We can proceed, Musin.
So
Yeah,
just
but
keeping,
sorry.
yeah, sure.
Can you explain about the calculated insights API once?
Yeah, as I mentioned, calculated insights API is like so once the data lake creates a particular insight out of the harmonized data, right? You can get metadata out of that. You can get the metadata out of that whatever the insight has been created. So there are within calculated API there are multiple, like just like you as you can see in bulk API ingestion, you have different set of connectors. In the same way, calculated insight API is also having different connectors which will help you to get metadata, or which will help you to get the whatever the insight has been act upon on particular job IDs and all those things. And even profile API also helps you get the metadata with respect to whatever the insight has been created for that particular profile.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah. So that is about data cloud. So any other questions?
Yes, Mehak, please ask your question.
We don't have option for update data in the streaming API ingestion.
It's about insert data. So it's not like Salesforce data lake is not like your what is a database. It's more of a data lake, right? So just like how you send a particular data, what do you say, you are not storing data, you are sending the data to, I mean, for example, now if you use that particular data which is being sent from Salesforce data lake, you'll be further pushing that data into a particular Salesforce cloud, right? So it's like a data lake, it's not like a database.
Okay, okay. Because I was thinking that delete operation is there, then why not update?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more like a insert operation. You definitely can, what do you say, push the data, but with the help of delete also, it's more like you can take out an entry out of a particular data lake.
Okay, okay.
Hey, hi Mohsin, I am audible.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Mohsin, regarding the data which we where the data cloud can't be access the data, there is a certain system, right, where we can use the MuleSoft. So in
Yes.
that scenario, how the data cloud come in a picture if everything we are just managing with the Mule?
Yeah, I mean, see, Mule is always a middleware, right? It can access a data and it can get it back to somewhere where it can be act upon, or like where it can be processed according to a business model, right? So MuleSoft, so data cloud uses that particular data cloud is that particular source where it destination which acts upon the data. It will create a model out of the data, and it will like consider like data is coming from multiple sources, and data lake is kind of a what you say tunnel or something which is able to what you say create a model out of it and provide it to multiple Salesforce objects or something like. MuleSoft will be able to help us in ingesting that particular data. So, like as I mentioned, like some systems or legacy systems which are sitting in on-prem, right? So
Yeah,
Salesforce Data Cloud cannot access those particular data which are then in that on-prem legacy system. So as of now, how MuleSoft is accessing all those it is bypassing those network architecture and reaching that particular legacy system. So MuleSoft can bring that particular data into data cloud so that data cloud can particular data.
understood. Oh, okay. So basically, it's a kind of a transaction where data
Yeah,
cloud can't access properly that data from that system, a specific system. So
yeah,
MuleSoft will take care all the
yeah,
things and it will give to the cloud, data
yeah.
cloud, and data cloud will perform the modeling and other things whatever it's needed. And based on that, it will perform the actions on a Salesforce.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And like as I mentioned, like the different streams of data which are coming. So you can also transform that particular data according to the schema which you have defined for that particular ingestion API, right? That we will
yeah,
cover in the demo part.
yeah. Thank you. I
Mohsin,
got it.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. Mohsin, I have one more question.
yeah.
Let's say I have a use case where we are having the data of all the employees, okay,
Hmm.
and the company got acquired by another company, okay,
Hmm.
and one column was there which was company name. Now the
Okay.
company name will be updated for all the employees. Okay, so in
Hmm.
that case, will there be any trigger that will update the data in the data lake also? That means in data cloud also, or how it will work?
So basically, it's like, see, for example, you are having an employee, right?
Mhm.
So it might create a account object in the Salesforce or 360, right? So it can create a account object in the Salesforce of 360. So that is between that employee, whatever the employee details is there, and the Salesforce, MuleSoft and Data Cloud could come into picture. And when you are updating anything, so you have to act on that particular data. So you send that. So you can create a unique primary key. I mean, you can create a particular primary key which you are using in the account object. So you can define the same primary key for that one in the data cloud as well. So there would be a particular unique identifier so that whatever the employee details which are getting updated, you have to process that data. I mean, as you can see, that is according to the business model. So you can process that data using a real-time scenario where your employees are going and updating their what do you say updating their data, or you are bulk taking that whatever the employee registry or employee data you are having, you can bulk take that data and ingest that data, and you can update that one into Salesforce.
Mm, okay, actually, I'm very new to data cloud. I haven't explored it yet. So the question is, since the update operation is not, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Have to give the permission. Okay, and the permission suggests that if any changes happens, then it automatically updates. So when the next time refresh of the data happening, okay, it automatically take care the new names. So it will be taken care into the data cloud.
Yeah. So basically, as data cloud is already within the Salesforce org, so it can have a synchronization between data cloud and Salesforce, definitely. But if the data is coming from outside, like where you are trying to update something, then you have to process the data.
Okay. So while processing the data, the new records will be created rather than updating the existing records.
No, I would not say like that one, because as I mentioned, so Salesforce data. So for example, you are updating a particular column where the column name is company or company name or something, right? But your
Mhm.
unique identifier is what is the employee ID, right?
Mhm.
So according to that employee ID, data lake would be what is it updating the data into the Salesforce.
Okay.
I guess the question is around the MuleSoft connector, what you have shown, where there is only insert and delete, two
Yes,
particular, and there is no update. So the
Yes.
question is like,
yes,
if we are doing it from MuleSoft, then if there is any updation is happening somewhere, like let us forget about Salesforce org at present, where we are updating any account object or opportunity, anything. Like let's forget about that. Just think about some external from where MuleSoft is pulling the data, and that data need to be inserted into data cloud, which will go into your data lake. Now if there is no provision of update, if it is only insert of delete, if anything is updated and that need to be updated in data lake, then how that can be done with the MuleSoft in data cloud?
Yeah, so Abhishek, how this connected is working, right? Always we push the data into the data cloud and unification happening inside the data cloud, right? So
Right.
as we always inserting, that is the reason it is not the update operation available. Although you have the updated data over there, once you push the data into the data cloud, at the time of unification, it automatically identify this is the update and they take care accordingly. Or if this is the new record, then it will create a new row over there.
Right. So that's the
yeah,
property of data cloud, where the unification or the ingestion, what we are doing. Like we have
Yeah.
different
yeah,
source. We have Salesforce org, we have AWS, and we have MuleSoft, and we have many other source where the data can be injected to the data cloud. And then when we
yeah.
do the unification, at that process automatically it is handled within data cloud to do the upsert operations within itself.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we are having something called as a identity resolution where
Right.
you can provide that particular validation. So as I mentioned, there is whenever you create a particular schema of that particular data cloud, you will create a primary key. Just our employee ID or something which you use as part of Salesforce or anything. In the same way, you will be having a unit with which you will be performing on that particular record. So once you get that particular data into the data lake, so according to the unique identifier, harmonization unification will take place, and according to that, it will get updated into. I mean, further it will be updated into Salesforce.
Okay. That means behind the scene, it's a upsert operation rather than
Yes.
insert. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Masi.
Sure. Thank you. So, any other questions?
Yes, Mohsen, I have.
Yeah.
So even I am also new in data cloud. I did not get a chance to much explore it. But my question is like, suppose you are talking about we have a two different external system, like the data is coming from Flipkart and Amazon. Okay, and they both have the same product. Okay, but you are saying if the data will go to the data cloud, it will not insert the duplicate, right? So how it will
Yeah.
identify the data?
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, it depends. So it depends according to the different whatever the business model you will create within that data lake. So once the data, so consider like Amazon is a particular data lake and Flipkart is a particular data lake. According to those two different data lakes, you will create a data model object, and within the data model object, according to your business requirement, you will define. So for example, what do you say? Amazon product is coming in and the Flipkart product is coming in, as the both of the products are coming in for a particular single product, so you can provide create that particular model so that it can, I mean, for example, it definitely depends on the use case. So both of the products are coming in. If you have to create an insight of the product overall in the market perspective, then you can create a model object where it will unify both of the data and it will create a one instance of it. So
Yeah, so when you do
when
the
I say duplication,
harmonization of when you do the harmonization of the data, that time you define the rules, right?
yes,
So the rule is identifying that they identify whether this record is a unique record, it is the separate or duplicate record. If it
yeah,
find based on the rules it is the duplicate, then it consider as a single record. All
mm,
other matching columns they put into the as a additional column over there. If it is find
yes,
that the new record, then it creates the new record id, and there also corresponding that profile id is been created, right?
yeah,
So which is the unique identifier for that record.
yeah. So basically, it completely depends on your use case, how you are trying to create. Create a model out of that, whatever the data you are having.
Got it.
Okay. So any other further questions? I take it as no. Then let's go ahead with the demo part. So as I mentioned, as part of data cloud, so this is how the data cloud would look like. And as I mentioned, like how data cloud works in a nutshell, you can see all the process you can see in the dashboard itself, like on the UI. Like you'll get a data, you'll create a data stream where you'll get different data lake objects. You will be creating different data lake objects. Like as I mentioned, like Amazon will be having its own data lake object. Flipkart will be having its own data lake object, like that. And according to that data lake object, whatever the requirement is there, according to that, you will create a data model, and you will create validations in the identity resolution. And then you, whatever the final data you are having, according to that final data, you can create and different different what do you say, data cloud features you can work upon, like creating a data what is it, data share targets, and then creating a data action and all those things. So as part of our demo, we would be covering more about the data ingestion part. So if we are trying to create a data ingestion, so first thing is you have to create an ingestion API. So as you can see, I have created an ingestion API. So it's basically like you have to create a schema of like whatever the data cloud data lake you are trying to create a schema out of that one, create a ingestion API out of it. So as you can see, I have already taken a particular schema where I am having two particular schema. And as this particular schema is having two objects, the data cloud will create a data lake object of those two particular objects. So you can see customer data and product data. So once you have created an ingestion API, and obviously we know the whole process of getting what is it, authorization for the data cloud. I mean, or Salesforce. Like you have to create a connected app, and then you can connect from the Salesforce connector. So once you have created a data ingestion API, you can see something like this. Ingestion APIs are created, and once the ingestion API is created, if you want further, like you can see, a particular ingestion API would be created, and it would be having a different name for that particular ingestion API and label and everything. And whatever the fields are there, as I mentioned, you can create a model out of it. So as you can see, I have taken a particular object from Salesforce, which is nothing but a product object. And whatever the fields were already present, I have that. And even you can create a custom field, or altogether you can create a custom object itself in the Salesforce, wherever you want, like even if it is a health cloud or sales cloud or service cloud or something like that. So once you have created a particular data model and you can see that particular data model, and then you can see that whatever the data model you have created, you can see that particular in the data explorer. So this particular data explorer will give you the overall whatever the data is present in that particular data model. So even you can see that is present in our data model object, streamline that particular data lake object into the data model object, and even that would be present in our data lake. Obviously, it will be present in our data lake object. So all the entries would be already present. So that is how overall the data cloud would work in congestion. And further, you can, as I mentioned, further according to your use case or business requirement, you can go ahead and create a validation for entity resolution, and you can harmonize and unify that particular data. And then out of whatever the refined data you have, according to that refined data, you can create an insight and send that insight to Tableau Analytics, or you can your own analytical dashboard. So So this is a data cloud. I mean, basically the data system API which I have created, where we are doing certain different operations, right? So we see there is a streaming query, there is a streaming insert where we have to insert where we are querying the streaming data. We are doing insert of that particular streaming data, and then we are also deleting what the stream data is there. And as I mentioned, there is a bulk upsert operation where we go step by step. Like we will create a job and then upload that whatever the data has been created, whatever the data we will upload that particular data according to the job ID. And then once the process is completed, we will close the job. And if for some reason the process is not completed, we would have to abort that particular job. And then we are having a bulk get job, as I mentioned, and then delete job is also there, where you can go ahead explicitly delete that particular object job ID. And there is this is one particular streamline where you can get all the jobs. So basically there is no particular connector where you can get all the jobs, so but you can make a call to that particular Salesforce data cloud and get the details of all the job IDs which are present or completed. So if you can see, this is how we have created. So for example, I have already inserted some of the data. So if you can see, I'm querying this particular unique data stream object, which has been a data stream which is present, and I'm getting whatever the data is already present. And if you want to do some insert operation or something, you can do that particular insert operation. You just have to provide like a couple of things, like for example, provide the source API name, as I showed in the data streaming screen, and the object name, like whatever the object you want to update. So in that way, you can do the data streaming. So this all would be present in that particular data lake object. Yeah, you can see the customer ID, customer details has, and then we have a to showcase the bulk operation. I can do a particular process where, so if you can see, I'll just run this through. Place this whatever the file I have created with the certain data. I'll place this one. I have already placed this one. So if you can see, this has been, just a minute. So as you can see, this has been processed. This will process the data, and whatever the data you have processed, that would be visible to you in the data explorer. So as part of bulk ingestion, it will take a little bit of time to replicate whatever the data you have done. So so it might take a couple of minutes or something, so that whatever the data ingestion you are doing as part of bulk operation, you can see that. And if you see, you can do get all jobs, and you would see a particular job would be in progress. And once this job is completed, you will be able to see the data into the data lake. So that is whole
Mo- Mohsin,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
have a question.
yeah.
Okay, we were looking at the on error continue abort section, right? Uh,
Mhm.
what would be the behavior in case, let's say, the process is halfway through and we had
Mhm.
to call abort? Would it roll back the initial steps, whatever steps it had made?
Basically, it will whatever the streaming is happening. Like once when you're processing a particular job, the job would be in progress. So if you abort that particular process, then whatever the job is taking place, it will revert that one, or it will close that like abort that particular job.
Okay, thank you.
So this on error continue, whatever the error handling you are seeing, this is to make sure that if it is completed, then we are closing that job. And if it is not completed, we are and it is failing for some reason, then we will just abort that open job.
Yeah, okay, so the job that was created, even though it had some lasting impact, those would be rolled back. It's
Yes.
all or none. Okay.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
like how our bulk API works.
Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mohsin.
Mohsin, can you please go to the unification part? Like, how do you define the rules? Can you just show that part a bit?
Okay. So that is more into like how we go with the data cloud. Like that is more into deep diving into data cloud. So we are covering the data ingestion part, right? So if you want to work on the unification and create identity resolution and all those things, there are certain connectors and certain like you can create a new rule set, and then according to the new rule set, you can create a flow and controllers and all those things. So that is more into deep diving into data cloud.
Okay, but let me give you one example. So suppose we have an account data that is present in different data sources. Okay,
Mhm.
now even the data cloud, let's assume data cloud is not there. Even if I'm pushing that data into normal cloud, sales or service cloud, if the data is duplicate, Salesforce by default intelligently do not process that data twice, right? It will say that this data is duplicated, it will throw us error, right?
Yes.
So how data cloud is, kind of providing something extra apart from that, because these services are already there.
Yeah, so if you from that perspective, so if Salesforce is not having an access to those particular outstream data, right? So
Mhm.
you will be like with the help of MuleSoft or something, you will be in just what do you say, inserting or upserting or updating the data into the Salesforce so and so cloud, right? But
Mhm.
with the help of data cloud, whatever you're doing with respect to that, what do you say, updating Salesforce, data cloud could also do the same thing, but it's just that it will work as a more of a data lake where it can do large amount of data, like different streams and different from the different portfolios. It can update that particular data into the Salesforce org or somewhere like that. So it is not like replacement of MuleSoft or something like that. So data cloud has its own different capability of doing that, whatever the magic it can do, and MuleSoft does this different thing.
I get that part. My question was more of like what extra data cloud is providing us, because even if I take an example of Sales Cloud, I make up custom objects. I can still ingest the data using MuleSoft, right?
Yes,
And I can still set up the same rules and everything through Salesforce flows, correct?
yes, yes.
So how data cloud is
So
giving me something extra?
yeah, so consider like you know how data lake works, right? So
Right.
it will have a data from multiple streams and other different what do you say, different sources, right? And it will from different sources, like think from a perspective where you are using MuleSoft and where you're using data cloud. So from getting different stream data and unifying that particular stream data and putting into a Salesforce, and different stream data and putting that into with the help of MuleSoft, it is like a more like a bringing data lake, which would I mean consider like Kafka or something, where you will be pushing multiple data and it will work as a pipeline where it will unify that particular data and push into a certain database or something like that. So
So
MuleSoft
unification
works.
of data. So sorry, just one thing before. Unification of data might not happen at the same time. So let's take an example for an account object or for some account related thing, right? I have data coming from 5 different sources. Okay. So unification might not happen at the same time. Let's say data updated in one of the end systems. So basically after unification, it is not a data lake, it is a database because we are updating everything, right?
No, so basically data lake, it's not like data lake, like data cloud is a complete data lake, right? So you are having different source data, you are unifying that data according to the predefined, predefined flows and controllers, right? So according to that predefined business model, you will be unifying that data and then putting into the Salesforce. So it's not like you are using data cloud as a database or something. So basically, you'll be getting data from a different streams. You will unify that data so that it can be according to what you are trying to perform.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that was with respect to demo. And any other questions? So I'll take it as no. Yes.
Please continue.
Is there any question?
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
sure.
No question.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about what's next coming into the picture, like as we talk about. So as I mentioned, there would be unstructured data. We already know we are already having a bit of hands-on, or even we can say we are having a glimpse upon the IDP and all. Right? So with the help of IDP, we can IDP or any OCR related things, we can strengthen MuleSoft by using unstructured data ingestion. So along with the data cloud capabilities, we can where data cloud is having access to a PDF text related files. Even with the help of MuleSoft, it can act upon the image related one as well. So that is where the something which is coming down the line. And even we also know something like MuleSoft Direct Connect is also coming in. So IDP, MuleSoft Direct Connect. So all these things are coming down the line so that it can complement data cloud and do the ingestion and all those things. Yeah. So then talking about our community. So Nitish, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I think this is all what we had today from Osin. Thanks a lot, and we had a very good discussion. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Mukesh, and the people who asked question.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be thank you, and that would be